This is Unit 3, Lesson 10, More Practice Solving Problems. We have some more complicated word problems than we've had before, and you're going to see where the problem-solving method is really going to be helpful for us working through these problems. Let's get started. Example 1. Daniel has $58 in his piggy bank. He gets a job mowing lawns and he charges $15 per lawn. If Daniel has $223 in his bank, how many lawns did he mow? First, we want to just step back and not think about the math, just think about the situation. Here's the deal. Daniel's got some money. That's where we're starting with, right? That's our starting point in time. Daniel's got some money in his piggy bank. And then what happens? He adds some more to it because he's making money mowing lawns. Well, how much money does he add to it? Well, it depends because he needs to multiply the amount that he charges for mowing lawns times how many lawns he mows, and that'll get the new amount that goes into his bank. And then that will result in how much more money he has. So we're going to write that out in our word equation. So that we're going to start out with that starting money that's in his bank. And then what we said was we were going to add to that. So we're going to put plus. And then we decided the amount that gets put in depends on what he charges and how many lawns he mows. So we're going to say the mowing charge times the number of lawns that he mows. And when that's added to what he started with, that's going to result in, that's going to equal to the amount that's now in his bank. So go ahead and write this word equation. If you need a little bit more time, pause the video before starting it up again to go to the next part. So that's our verbal model, our verbal equation. Now what we're going to do are our labels. So we just have to go to all the pieces of our verbal model. The first one is the starting amount in the bank. The second one is the mowing charge. The third is the number of lawns mowed. And the fourth one is the amount in the bank. So we just take those right out of our word equation. So pause the video for a minute and make sure you have those all written down. Now, we're going to go ahead and fill in what those labels are. So the starting amount in the bank, if you see in the problem, it says he's got $58 in his piggy bank. So we're going to write that as 58. The mowing charge, you can see he mows each lawn for $15. So that's $15. The number of lawns mowed, you don't really know. That's the question that's being asked. You can see the question mark. That indicates what we don't know. How many lawns did he mow? So we're writing that as our variable x. And then the amount in the bank that he ends up with, you can see it has, now he has $223 in his bank. So that's the resulting amount in the bank. Well, from here on in, it's pretty straightforward because we just need to go right with our word equation. First thing is starting amount in the bank. That's 58. Then we see a big plus. We write a plus. The mowing charge is $15 times the number of lawns that he mowed. We don't know that. That's x. So we write it right up next to that 15 to show its multiplication. Then an equal sign, and then the amount in bank is $223. Look at that. It's a beautiful algebra equation that you now know how to solve. So we're just going to go ahead and solve this. We're going to subtract 58 from each side. Go ahead and be sure to write every step in your notes, just like you see here. The result there is 15x on the left, and on the right, 223 minus 58 is 165. To get x isolated, we're going to divide each side by 15, and we get x equals 11. Well, what does that mean? We look back at our labels, it says x stands for the number of lawns mowed. So we're going to answer our question in a sentence. And our answer is, if Daniel has $223 in his bank, he mowed 11 lawns. Pause the video if you need to make sure that you have written down everything that you see on the screen here. All right, let's try another one. Example 2. Earlier today, it was 83 degrees Fahrenheit in Miami. Each hour, the temperature cools by 4 degrees Fahrenheit. If the temperature in Miami is now 67 degrees Fahrenheit, how many hours have passed? So let's think about the situation. Earlier, it was a temperature, then it starts cooling. It cools a certain amount every hour, and eventually gets to a new temperature. So we're going to think of that as a timeline going left to right. So we started out with the temperature, and then because it's cooling, we're going to subtract an amount, and we're going to figure out that amount by multiplying the amount that it cools times how many hours. And that's going to be equal to what our new temperature is. So go ahead and write that word equation. Pause the video if you need to. In addition, we need to write down our labels based on each of those pieces in our word equation. So we're going to have a starting temperature, the amount it cools, the number of hours, and the new temperature. Again, pause the video so you can write those all down. All right, now we're going to fill in those amounts. The starting temperature, it says earlier today, was 83 degrees, so we're going to write 83. It's cooling by 4 degrees Fahrenheit, so we put 4. The number of hours, we don't know that. That's what the question mark is. See that question mark? That's the question that's being asked, so we don't know. We put an X for that because that's unknown at this point, and it says our new temperature is now 67, so we put a 67. From here on in, it's just filling it in and solving. So our starting temperature is 83 minus 4 times X equals 67. All right, let's go ahead and solve. We want to get the variable isolated. Hey, remember, before we proceed, remember, you're never going to put units in your equation. So you wouldn't put dollar signs in there, you wouldn't put degrees Fahrenheit in there. Just numbers and variables. All right, now to solve, we want to get that X by itself, so we're going to undo the 83 first by subtracting 83. What's left over, be careful, what's left over is negative 4X, and on the other side, negative 16. We want to divide each side by negative 4, and then we get X equals 4. So what's X standing for? The number of hours. So we say 4 hours have passed if the temperature is 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember, that's a full sentence. It has a subject, it has a verb, it has a period at the end. And that's it. Put your note sheet in your binder so you have it for class tomorrow. We're going to do lots of problem solving tomorrow. By the end of class, you're going to be an expert. See you then.